Yeah. Gonna have to end before next Friday, though.
You have to what?
I'll have to do it again before next Friday.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Oh, this buddy I have, buddy old pal. He's kind of he's a killer, a beast.
Some might say.
He
Somebody
decided
say.
that this lady. He decided that he liked it, so he put a ring on it. They're making it official next Friday.
Official.
Yeah.
I believe it's next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Next Friday, that's
Now
the
that
one.
5 times, I'm like,
Wait, what? It's Friday?
It's like, hang on, what?
Heck yeah.
Nope. Yep, I'm tying the knot on Friday.
This tree is driving me back. So you guys keep going. I'm just gonna move a little bit.
Racer, are you excited, man?
Better.
I am. Yep. I mean, always a lot. I'm gonna say always. I've been at a wrestling tournament all day, so I've been feeling all the nerves from that.
Dude, it doesn't matter if you're at the tournament or not.
No, it doesn't.
You should have seen me. I was shaking making dinner while Bronson was wrestling. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But the missus is talking to him.
Oh
no.
He's
Jaybird's borrowing our new car.
Why are you letting Jaybird borrow the new car?
So that she can go get swole at the gym.
I guess that's an okay reason.
Size is the prize.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Tracer learned what marriage is really about. Buying cars together.
Yeah. No, we actually it's like my whole life I've been the guy that's like see someone young driving a nice car, like, daddy's money bought that for him. Dude, that's me. I'm that guy. No, Riley's car, it broke down. The transmission blew like last week, like 2 weeks ago. And we were like, no, that's just terrible timing.
Mm-hmm.
And like my car blew up too a few months ago.
You don't have an old reliable. I mean, you have the old Ford, but
yeah, that's not gonna get me here and then to Nebraska and then here and then back to Idaho again. I mean, that's 18.
It took me
times 2
all the way to central Arizona and back.
It took me to Rexburg and back probably 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
The Ford?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Honda.
Oh, no, the Honda is... The Honda took me a lot of places.
Probably shouldn't have.
Oh, it's right now just sitting dormant. It's so sad.
Yep.
But it had a good life.
It did. It lived longer than it should have.
Yeah. Yeah, because between what you and I did to it, it was...
Well, I mean, there's nothing serious wrong with it right now. It's just a matter of doing it.
What,
just
my
getting
Honda?
it fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, it just won't turn over. It was running great until I parked it and swapped rigs.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
my truck kind of did that. My truck kind of did that. It wasn't starting, but then we threw that battery charger on it for a while, and I've just been starting it every couple weeks. Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. So it's something bigger, but I think that old Honda will start. Once it starts, it'll run again.
Oh, dude, hit 1 mil.
Yeah, it has like 300,000 miles on it or something crazy.
It'll hit 1 million miles before we hit 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
The
new hunting rig. That's what we're gonna be taking all over now.
Yes.
That is the last rig. That is the only rig I've killed a bear in. I was driving that rig.
Oh man.
That's what I took. Let me see. took that deer hunting the first time we went to our hunting unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first bull we put in the back of that after we got to our house.
Yeah. Which one was your first? Oh, yeah.
The one that's just you and me.
Mm-hmm. That was speaking of just partners that go hunt. I mean, that was one of the funnest hunts.
Oh, yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
It was, yeah. It was up and down all day and so much fun.
Yep. Switching pace a little bit. Today was a pretty big day for one of the younger of our crew. My Bronny. He had a pretty good day today. There's
What a
a
heck
tournament
of a
called the
day.
Warrior.
Tell us about it.
It's so the Warrior. I mean, that's a tournament that Colton and I both wrestled at. I mean, you can argue that it's gotten smaller over the years and different things, but there's still some tough teams that go to that tournament. And just, I mean, the highest I ever placed there was 4th. That was my junior year. I only got to wrestle there twice though, because I broke my hand my sophomore year, and they just didn't have it my senior year due to COVID. But that kind of screwed everything up, because that would have been the year, if any, for me to try to win that one. But I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of just a fun one to go back to, have some memories with. That was the only place I got pinned. I was looking at the mat that I got pinned on. I was like, no. And a kid was in that move, dude. Got salsa to his back, and I was like, that was me.
That was me.
But yeah, I mean, just a lot of memories there. But yeah, Bronson, he just showed up. He, for the first time, I think, ever in a decent tournament, he got seeded in a spot where it was kind of the easier side of the bracket.
It is the best. It was the best shot for just placing.
Yep.
And so he had to go through 2 other kids, which he tech falled, so he beat by 15 points
in the
first 4 minutes total. The first and second period, and then so he teched his first 2 kids. And then his third kid was a kid we've lost to 2 different times?
Yep.
We've only lost to him once this year.
This year only once, but we've only seen him twice other than this time.
But overtime,
last year was
matches every time too.
Yeah.
And we go out there and beat him 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, it was huge. We were talking about, I mean, some of the most important things that I learned from wrestling, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree, is it's the mentality. It's not the physical, whatever. You can think, yeah, I'm grateful because in that odd case that someone stops you on the street, wants to steal your wife's purse, you kind of have some self-defense there. But odds of that happening, they're super slim. And and people joke about it all the time. That's what all guys are daydreaming about. The one thing that's never going to happen, but it's
you never know.
Dreaming of all the possibilities. But no, it's just the mentality and just the toughness that it gives you, physically and mentally, but especially mentally. And that was the biggest win for Bronson today. I mean, the first 2 matches, they weren't anything. I mean, they could have been tougher kids, but Bronny's went and manhandled them. But this last match that he won, it was a mental battle, because he has the physical, but I'm super proud that he was able to kind of step up and win that mental game a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. I guess the question I want to ask you guys is How do you think the sports you played in high school, how do you think that changes to the hunting world? Like, okay, how would you relate the two? What did you learn from one that helped with the other? Something of the sort, if you get what I'm trying to say.
hmm The thing that Tracer and I hold our head high about is not getting pinned. So getting pinned is like the easiest way out of a wrestling match when you don't want to wrestle. So Tracer got pinned once?
Yep.
I got pinned 5 times in my high school career. And one of the things that takes to not get pinned is the mental fortitude to say, you know what, I ain't gonna just stop. I am gonna find a way to just last. Now I may not win, but I am not gonna get pinned. Pins the wuss way out, you know. And that's always been the mentality of, oh, that's the wuss way out. That's, you just don't do it. But having that transfer over, the mentality to go over that next ridge or hike up this steep ridge that most people won't do, you know. Why not? It's just a ridge. And that's how kind of my mentality went, especially for shed hunting more so than hunting. Was, you know what, I will go into that hole. I can, not packing an elk out of that hole, that's a whole different matter. But I can pack out a backpack full of antlers. And that's kind of been my mentality is, I'm not going to give over and just give that up. That elk hunt that we were talking about earlier on, their first bull, Caden.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those that we may have taken a lot of breaks, but we got that thing out in 2 trips.
Yeah.
like it was, we were climbing out. Just
for those of you that didn't listen to that podcast, let it be known that the first trip was just us taking the head out.
I think that's all we took out, the head and all the gear.
The first trip to go get the vehicle and get it to a closer spot.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't know if it was much closer looking back at it.
I think it saved us like 50 yards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, kind of jumping in on that kind of note is, for me, it was, you know, sometimes you look at the specific sports, and I mean, I'm going to swear up and down my whole life, you know, wrestling changed me the most. It's because wrestling is what pushed me the most. You know, wrestling is just one of those things, you're there, and because I know I fell back on in football, I could fall back on, okay, my teammate didn't do his job. I was doing everything I could do, but my teammate didn't do his job, and the other team scored, and that's why we lost. But in wrestling, you can't do that. Like it's you. And I mean, obviously, you can have that mentality in any play that you do, whether that's basketball, football, even. I mean, I guess track is kind of an individual sport as well. But I think just that mentality of, kind of like Colton was mentioning, is nobody's gonna beat me. You know, somebody might actually beat me. You know, the score is gonna say, yeah, they won, but no one's gonna break me. You know, and that's kind of going back to what Colton was saying about like getting pinned in wrestling. You know, that is where you can tell, you know, someone broke you. If they're able to turn you and like hold you on your back for long enough to get a pin, like they broke you in a way. And most of the time when people get pinned, it's just because they give up. You know, there's that second that they're just like, they succumb to that temptation, if you will, to just, oh, this is hard, I'm just gonna lay down. And that's all it takes is that second. And I think going back into those places and hunting and different things, you know, even if you're thinking about putting time in, you know, shooting your bow, I know archery for us is a lot more fun. You know, we'll go rifle hunting, but archery is a lot more fun. And I think skill intensive. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're drawn to that as well, is just, how far can we push ourselves? And, my favorite feeling out in the mountains, and especially shed hunting, because most of the time, like Colton was saying, hunting, you don't want to be way out where you can't pack something out. But when I was shed hunting, man, I knew for a fact some of the places I was, no human in maybe ever has stepped foot here. Like there would be sometimes I would just like I'd be in a spot where I'm like, yeah, someone probably was never here. But then I'd see a spot harder than that, and I'm like, no one's
That's
ever
it.
been there. That's the spot. Did I find sheds in those places? Most of the time, no. But I
Nope.
went.
Elk don't go there either.
Man,
Oh shoot! It was like the last shed hunting film that you put together, Caden.
Yeah.
I hiked up this ridge that I was like, I bet nobody's ever gonna be up here. That evening when we split up, and so I hiked up that ridge, just bombed up it, got all the way up to the top, had to scale some cliffs to get up there. There are boot prints all over that dang thing. That was the first time in my head I was like, I must have not been good enough shape or something, because usually when I find these places, there's nobody else up here.
yeah.
But
Was there a road up there or something?
no, I don't know how they got up there. I mean, they had to have gotten up there the same way I did, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well,
it was one of those places that you had to scale a cliff to get up in it.
oh yeah. I wish I would have filmed me and Hunter going up and down better, because just to get an idea of the crap we did. When we came down, we climbed, because we were like not hiking all the way back around. We're cutting off here.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it worse, we had the dogs with us. So we climbed down this 10-foot cliff and then passed the dog down to each other.
Oh,
I
man.
remember a time that we had. Were you there?
With
Did I throw a
Roxy?
rock? Yeah,
Yeah.
I threw a rock like this 15-foot cliff to Tracer, and it was one that she could have scaled. Like it was a slot, so she could have scaled down if she really wanted to, but she would not do it.
She's kind of a fat dog.
So I just picked her up and I was like, okay. Tracer caught her. Don't worry, guys. It wasn't
Don't worry.
that bad.
Don't worry.
Get out of here, Peta.
But yeah, what I want to turn over the question to you. What sports taught you?
So I'm the basketball player of the group. And
Obviously, if you see us in a room, you'll realize why.
you'll see. And I mean, okay, there's a lot of crud I learned from basketball. A lot of mentality stuff. I mean, my senior year, we played with 6 people, so I never subbed out unless I fouled out, which happened more times than I want to admit. I'm playing for an hour, full court the whole time, running the whole time. And at the time, I was in great shape, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I could go off on that, but I don't even want to talk about the basketball. I think something that really has stuck out to me was when I was coaching cross country here. Cross country, all right, and I'll admit that I was one of those people who thought of cross country, and I was like, oh, that's not a sport. Oh,
That's just running in bigger circles.
people who do that have no friends. I could go off on what I had thought about cross country runners.
Tracer, what was the name of that kid that you wrestled? Your finals match?
Mestis?
Mestis. Wasn't he a cross country runner?
Not for
No.
me.
I don't know.
Because he was a Centauri kid.
Yeah. I had a few kids that were wrestlers.
Eric Mestis.
Yeah, he wasn't for me.
Gotcha. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Okay, cross country it's running. That's it. That's all it is. I have never been a part of a more mentally draining, mentally stressed, mentally tasking sport in my life than that. And I was the coach. I wasn't doing it. I'd watch these kids. I had this one kid who if everyone had the mental will, the mental ability of this kid, man, this world would be 1,000% different than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his limits, okay? And we got to this meet, and there was this kid there that he wasn't super fond of, but who he knew was better than him. And I was like, dude, what you need to do is you just need to stay on it the whole time. And he's like, yeah, but he's way faster than me. And I know once he gets ahead, I won't be able to catch up to him. And I was like, what you need to do is at the start of the race, once it goes, I want you to sprint your heart out. Like, okay, the gun goes off, people start running. And a lot of kids will go fast at the start, but not crazy. I was like, I want you to be in the front of the pack. You do whatever it takes to get in the front. Get in front of that kid. And then you never let him pass you. I was like, that's all you need to do. And he was like, oh, that is all I need to do. Bro, that gun went off. I've never seen someone run from the gate that fast. Dead sprint. He gets in front of that kid. He never let him pass him.
Shoot.
When he crossed the finish line, he collapsed, couldn't breathe, and was dead. Like it destroyed the kid, but he beat him. And I was like, what the heck? Me so much because I'm like, this kid knew his limits. This kid knew when he wanted to quit, and it hit him multiple times throughout the thing. You could tell. He started slowing down, and then he see that kid come up behind him, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh shit!" And he's in front of him. There's so many times he could have easily given up. It wasn't proving anything. It wasn't some tournament that meant much. But that mentality that he had pushed him past his limits and let him know that he could do a lot more than he thought he could.
Mm.
And I've tried, I'm not going to say I've done it. I've tried to use that in my life, especially when it comes to hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen to our earlier podcasts, knows that I'm one of the least in shape out of all of us.
Was.
Let's say that was. I'm hopping aboard the yoke train now, but but no,
was because after this year, I think you took your spot at top of the podium.
dude, I never thought I would be able to do half the crud I did this year. And I can't tell you, there were multiple times, especially on that elk hunt, that I thought about, like, I could just wait here. It's not my tag. I'll wait with the llamas. I'll do this instead. Fetch, I'll just go home. But pushed through it. And I can't tell you how many times that freaking kid, he came to my mind during that hunt. And I was like, no. It'll be worth it. Let's push through it. Dude, worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it. Sucked, but it was so worth it.
Yeah, I love stories like that, and like it's one of those that one comes to my mind, and like I don't want to go toot my own horn, but it reminds me of this match that I had. Was it my sophomore year in the heartbreak round at state? And
Yeah, it was one you
with
shouldn't have won.
Coombs, there was this kid, and he was a
Let,
solid
let, let,
wrestler.
let me
Oh, go for it.
preface this as a coach. So I had the privilege of coaching Tracer all 4 of his years and then a couple years after him, right? And heartbreak round is round before placing, right? At state, you lose your match early on, so you have to come through the backside of the bracket, and you gotta. I mean, it's the round before placing. If you win, you go on to place. If you lose, you're done. You don't get a place. So Tracer was losing this match, and I forgot how much he was losing it by. But he was losing his match. 15 seconds, they go out of bounds, and I'm like, Tracer, you've got to pick this up. And Tracer kind of looked at me. He's like, I got this. Bull crap, you've got this. You're losing. You need a pin to win this match, or you need a. It was more than a
No, I
takedown.
think
It was
I
more
think
than a
it was.
takedown.
I thought it was just a takedown, but I was certain in my mind that I was not going to if I took it into overtime, I wasn't going to win.
Mm-hmm. So I looked at him like, dude, you have like 15 or 7 or something seconds left. You got to pull something out of your hat. And my heart just sunk. I thought for sure he was done. Like, very few kids can pull that off. But
Yeah. Well, I remember looking at it. We had a little scramble. Um, went out of bounds. We went out of bounds, and it was about 15 seconds.
either 15 or 7. I think
But
it's 15.
then we went out again, and
Mm-hmm.
it was less. It was like either like 8 or 9 seconds, something crazy like that. And another thing in wrestling too is like back points. So you don't have to pin them to necessarily win. Like you can take them down, get the 2 points, and then you can get near fall if they're facing their back. And I remember when I looked at Colton, I don't think I've ever been that confident, and I don't know if confidence was the right word, hopeful. Like just something just clicked, and I knew that I could. I didn't know that I would, but I knew that I could do something. And I mean, it was less than 10 seconds on the clock because I looked at it and I was like, there's no way. Like maybe I get a takedown, take it into overtime. I can't feel my legs. Like there's no shot. This kid's too good on his feet. I hadn't put time in to be good on my feet yet. Like my forte, if you will, was on the mat. And I was pretty tough on the mat, but that doesn't get you anything in an overtime match in wrestling because it's just on your feet. First takedown wins. And I remember I just stayed in good position and just kind of went at him, and I think I hit him with just a clean double, took him straight to his back on the edge of the mat, got back points, and didn't even need to go into overtime. And like barely enough time to get those swipes. And that was one of those that now that I'm kind of thinking about it and talking about it, like yes, for people looking from the outside in, that could be just a motivational story to be like, yeah, I need to push myself. And you look at people like that and you think they have it figured out. It's like, oh, they were able to do it. But that, just like anything in life, it's just sometimes you do better than others. Something's right, something's the right thing to do, but sometimes you have a little more willpower to do it than other times. And I've looked back on that match myself so many times in my life, and I'm like, okay, is it really worth quitting right now? Because maybe I just need to push it a little bit farther. And so that kind of works the same way for me, even though it was my own story. It just reminds me of what I can do, and it does it translates into so many aspects of life.
One thing I'd like to add back in the early days, I'm not going to say early days, but back when Tracer and Hunter were both in sports, it didn't matter what sport or who was doing it. When those kids got on the mountain, it was good luck because they were going to push each other to the next 20 miles. And it wasn't going to end there. I mean, it was always a boom, 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 boom. We're going to go this far. And then, how far are you going with that far? Okay, I'm going this far. How far are you going? I'm just going up on this bench right here. How about you, Tracer? I'm going clear to the top of the freaking mountain to find sheds in the shale. Why? But that's what he did. And him and Hunter both were like, well, if you're going there, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get up there first, you know? I'm going to find more shits than you. Like I don't know if that was actually ever said or thought, but that's how it was. They always just boom, boom, shot straight up. And again, we haven't done much hunting in a big group together where we just have to go long ways. But I have never seen a pair. And I remember like our first couple of years shed hunting with you, Caden. You and I stood back.
Well,
We took the easy route.
Throw in the half that, dude. Half the crap I didn't want to do.
Yeah. And it was the same kind of thing, though. It's because we were together and we were pushing each other to get to that spot. Now, we were at different levels than Tracer and Hunter because that's where we were at the time. But, geez, I could never keep up with those two when they had a goal in mind. It was ridiculous.
Mind you, I had no idea what I was doing.
Tracer literally was, I'm going to the top of the freaking mountain. Screw you guys. Or I'm going down this steep canyon, then up the other side, and then I'm going to get lost. So you have to come find my butt and then come back. Oh, shoot. So here's a question for you, and I'm kind of leaning this one more towards you, Caden.
All right.
You mentioned a little bit about how that mental fortitude pushed you with a group this year. But when you're alone, do you do the same thing?
Let me see.
And I'll answer my own question while you're thinking about it because I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
Yeah.
I took a full week off this last year to go specifically deer hunting. And I was focused on my uncle, and weather was supposed to be coming in. Long story short, we shot a pretty good 150, 160 class buck first day. And so I had the rest of the week that I could have hunted. Instead of staying on the mountain, which I had help, my dad showed up. I had two uncles there. Instead of staying on the mountain, I decided, you know what, weather's coming in. Let's just get out before we have to really clean up in the weather, you know. I'm okay. I'll go out later. I'll go find my lowland bucks and go chase them. Because I had turned up a couple 170 class lowland bucks. But my mental fortitude wasn't there. I went out every day, but just half-assing it. You know, I didn't commit. And that's something I look back on, and I look back on my wrestling career as well. I only ever got third at state. And for me, that was not the goal. The goal is always to be the best. And I look back at it, and I realize there were times that I just quit. I didn't get pinned, but I quit when I should have placed, or I quit when I should have done this, or I quit when I should have done this. It wasn't a very hard quit, but it was just my mind switched. And that's something I'm realizing. If I want to be able to pull out a 170 class buck every couple of years, or a 180 class buck or something, yeah, I can luck into one every once in a while. But at some point, I've got to make that flip switch and just commit and keep going. That's what I'm learning with all my hunting, is especially solo. It's so easy to just say, It's getting dark. I don't like hiking the woods by myself. I'll just call it quits early. And I've never killed because of that. It's my bull this year. My bull this year, I was like, okay, I'll peek over this edge and just see. And he was down the bottom, like, screw it. I've always wanted to kill a sagebrush bull. The wind's terrible. I'm going to blow him out with my wind, but we'll see. And I killed a sagebrush bull, or Spike, whatever you want to call him. He wasn't a real bull. It may have been his only first or second set of antlers. He was a little 3-point, but that's something I realized was, okay, now I've gone over this hump a little bit. Now I need to keep on pushing. Next year, maybe I do an overnighter by myself, or maybe I do a 3-day trip by myself, or maybe on these other hunts, I commit to a full day of scouting by myself or with one of you guys or whoever, you know. But that's going to be my goals upcoming. Is my goals are to kill big animals. I mean, everybody has different goals. That's the point that I'm at. I mean, I've killed enough that I don't necessarily have to kill. And with the way Wyoming's set up, I don't have to kill until the end of season. I can go shoot a cow elk if I want to in November. But so now that I'm kind of set up a little bit differently, I can focus more on, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to get out of my comfort zone and pursue it a little bit more. And that's something that with wrestling, it was easier. It was easier because I had a game plan. I knew 6 minutes and I was done, or 9 minutes and I was done. Not this unknown of hunting where you never know. You could be clear back in the backcountry 3 days in, and you finally have your opportunity, and you have to decide, do I go out tonight, or do I stay one more day, maybe not have a lot of food, maybe not have a lot of water to get out. I'm going to stay one more day and try to make it happen. And that's the point I want to get to this year, where I'm mentally able to do that. That's my goal this year. So in a long roundabout way. But anyway.
No, you know, it is definitely harder, I believe, to push yourself more alone. I believe having one extra person there at minimum, you can accomplish freaking a load more.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is, gospel according to me. I think if you can get to the point where you are pushing you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here trying to push Colton farther or vice versa. If I am pushing myself to my limits and then some, dude, I think that's when you figured everything out. I think that's when complete success happens. Because, okay, up to this point, we've had tons of success. Look behind you. Every one of us have had success in everything we've done hunting-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the success comes from harvesting the animal, whether it's from us having freaking awesome hunting trips like the 5 for 5 year,
Jeez.
whether it's from chef we've done fishing trips, we've hiked into Hellhole the Lake, whatever. Like, there's success in every aspect of hunting, of the outdoors. But when you have all of that, and then you can say, I tried my absolute hardest. I did everything that I absolutely could to make this happen. I think that's when you've 100% hit it on the head. Freak yeah. Here's your medal.
Exactly.
You've done it.
Well, and that's where I hang my head about this year is I didn't try my hardest. And I'm disappointed about it. I know of some places that I was like, Hannah, this is where the deer's going to be. I'm going to go there tomorrow. I'm like, the weather's iffy. That's a 3-hour drive. I'd have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get to the trailhead by 6, hope that I'm 2 miles in by shooting light, kind of thing. And I'm by myself, and you know what? Gas money is a little bit too much right now, and yeah, I let myself loose. I let myself down. I still ended up shooting a deer this year. Nothing to be tooting my own horn about. Any other circumstance that I wouldn't have shot him. But it made me realize, okay, if I'm going to commit to this hunting thing, I'm not going to lollygag about it anymore. I live in an amazing state with amazing opportunities. I can hunt archery and rifle. Not very many states allow that anymore. Like Colorado, no, you got to decide archery or rifle or muzzleloader.
Yeah.
That's all. Utah, you have to decide. Idaho, you don't. But it's different. It's different regulations after the seasons change.
Yeah.
But so I live in a state that I am able to do that. I'm able to hunt deer September 15th in their summer patterns. Like what other state allows you to do that with a rifle? Like you and I were hunting same time frame. You were hunting with a muzzleloader. We were hunting with rifles. Like so, and a lot of this has been a lot more recent realization of this is what I want. I want to figure out how to kill a good H-class deer every year.
Yeah.
Or at least have the opportunity to try to. And the way the world's looking, I don't know how many more years I have before they try to change something up here. So I got to take advantage of it while I can. And if I'm going to do that, I've got to make that mentality switch of not beating myself. And that's my goal. That's my goal this next year is I'm going to do it little by little. I'm going to try a bear hunt, maybe a 3-day bear hunt or something, where I just got to push myself to the limits. But
And I think another good point when we're on this sort of topic is, I feel like we get caught in the talking about the events. Like your mindset is not going to switch from one event to another. What are you doing in the off season? What are my daily routines looking like to where I'm going to have that mental fortitude to not give up on myself? Because a lot of things that we want in life, they're decent things, they're good things. Having a goal to kill a good buck every year, that's an awesome thing. But are we structuring our minutes to make our hours, to make our days, to make our weeks, to make that a possibility? I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to watch that new Christmas movie, the red one. But there's just one line in it that I love. It's a line that Santa says. It's Santa's kind of catchphrase, if you will. And he says that pretty much every decision matters. The little ones, the big ones, they all matter. And I feel like sometimes, and since we're kind of, sharing a little bit more, um, like this past little while, I've been able to use the excuse of, oh well, I'm getting married soon, so I got to prepare for my wedding. So I haven't been as consistent going to the gym. I haven't been as consistent with a lot of things that I should be. When realistically, right now I have more time than I've ever had. Like I should be working on myself a lot more, but I'm able to kind of sink back into this, other space of, oh well, I I'm gonna get back into things like once I'm married, once I'm settled in, moved into the new apartment, you know, and
You see
but
the two
things,
married men are laughing.
yeah, but like that's kind of what I'm getting at is it's been that way at other points in my life as well. You know, you pick a point in your life and you find excuses that could very well be legitimate, but they're excuses nonetheless. You know, and so what sorts of things, I guess, if you guys have any ideas to bounce around, what are some things we could do in our just our day-to-day routines that that could help us just fix that mentality of, oh well, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm in a good place right now, so I don't need to do this.
Just do it.
Just do
Trademark.
it. Trademark.
I totally thought that was a different finger.
You missed it.
Dude, I caught it.
Uh,
Yeah.
one thing I've been thinking about, because I've had similar thoughts. One thing I've thought about is I know that I do better when I have accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have someone who's helping me be accountable, because as we were kind of talking about earlier, it's a lot harder to be accountable on your own. But, some things that I need to be doing every day and haven't been doing, I need to put the same amount of effort into my hunting, or 5 seconds. I need to put the same amount of effort into that as I have been my hunting.
Mm-hmm.
There's things day to day, whether it's reading my scriptures, whether it's exercising a little bit, so on and so forth, eating better, drinking a little less soda, not a lot, just a little. All those things, if I were to put the same effort into it that I did my hunting this year,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I'd be making Tracer look small.
No, and that's something that I think about a lot too. Is every day I'm thinking about hunting, right? Like it's something that I have not been able to turn off in my brain since we were 5-year-old kids getting drug out with our dad's turkey hunting.
Ditto.
Like that's been on my mind 24/7. I'm gonna go kill this bird. I'm gonna go kill this thing. I told Hannah this last week. I just gotta go kill something. And it's not like a malicious thing. Like I don't want to just go slaughter. No. If I'm gonna go kill something, if I go kill a duck, I'm gonna eat it. Okay, I may not like it as much, but I'm gonna go eat it. If I go kill something else, I'm gonna eat it. If I go kill a coyote, I'm gonna skin it. I mean, there's different levels of it. So it's not like it's just and it's gonna be during the legal season. So if I'm gonna go kill something, it's gonna be legal. And that's just something that's been bred into me since that day of this is what we do as humans. This is how we've lived for centuries. And it has changed a lot. We don't have to do it as much anymore. But that's the way I'm wired. That's the way I live and breathe, is I think about it all the time. And it might drive my wife crazy that I think about it as much as I do. And so, again, some of my new goals this next year are, I didn't take any family vacation time this year, guys. all my vacation time that I took was for hunting. That's it. The only vacation time I took 2 years ago, I took one day to go camping with my wife and her family. And then I took a couple weeks off when Everly was born. That was it. And I looked at that and I'm like, this is not the way I want my family to be run. I am not going to be that guy that just commits everything to this thing, my hobby. It may be everything I think of. It may be what I eat, sleep, dream. I mean, shoot, we had steak burritos for dinner tonight, you know?
I had steak for lunch.
Right? It's a way we live, but I use that as an excuse too much. Of like, oh, I'm going to Utah this year. I'm not even going to have a tag, but I'm going to Utah. Or, oh, I'm going to Arizona this year. I'm not going to have, it's one of those things that it's such a thing that I want to do, you know. But I need to put more time into my everyday life of myself. Put more time into me. Put more time into my beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, my personal beliefs, and I constantly listen to podcasts, you know, and a lot of the same ones that Caden and I listen to a lot. Gritty, he is an amazing guy, and this last podcast is just spot on. Just, but it made me take another step back. Of I haven't been through the hardships of my wife having cancer or any of this, and I took a step back. I'm like, I am prioritizing this all wrong. Yeah, I get to come home every night and I get to be with my family every weekend almost up until August. But that's something I need to prioritize more is my family and myself and my spirituality. I need to dig in more to the signs, the coming signs, you know. That's something that the last conference, last whatever, we're LDS, you guys. Everybody that listens to this probably knows we're LDS. And that's something I realized was I would like to be a little bit more in the know. Of I know the gist of it, but like I should know more. And if I take half of this, a quarter of this effort that I put into learning about hunting and perfecting that craft as I do into myself and my spirituality, I'll become a totally different, better man than I am right now. Yeah, I feel like I'm hogging the mic, but
Oh, hey, dude,
No,
you're
that's
dropping all. Ah, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm loving what you're saying.
yeah. No, I mean it's one of those things where I feel like it's kind of inevitable. Whatever topic we're on, if it's real at all, I mean, religion's connected, God's connected. It's there isn't this separation of what I like to do and God. If there is, then we need to take a step back and reassess, because ultimately that is the most important thing. God and family, that's where it is. That's what God made it to be. And he wants us to have joy. He wants us to have our hobbies, our hunting, our sports, our anything we're doing. He wants that for us. He really does. But I mean, kind of like Colton was saying, I mean, sometimes it is that, where is the priority really? Because it's important. I have a coach that made a huge impact on me with a few different lessons he taught me, hints. And one of the things that I never understood fully I may not even understand it fully now, but he would always tell me to respect the sport that I was in. And so that meant during football, I was not wrestling. Like that was not my focus when I was in football. I was focusing on being the best linebacker, fullback, teammate that I could be at that time. And my attention was fully on that while I was in it. But then as soon as that switch flipped and the season changed to wrestling, you turn your back on football and you work on wrestling and this, that, and the other. And I feel like that's such an important thing to kind of realize is yes, when we are focused on something, it should kind of have our full attention. Like Colton was saying, you don't want to do anything halfway. Like that, if I do a million things, but I do them halfway, I haven't really done anything. And I'm guilty of that with hunting. I mean, I think of everyone in the group, my heart is the least into the actual hunting part of it.
But let me tell you something, guys. 3 years ago, so the year before Tracer went off on his mission, 3 or 4. It's not 4.
3.5-ish.
It's almost 4. Holy crap. But the year before, he drew a pretty good deer tag. And we found a 180 giant. He was 180 plus. He might have been more than 180. Texas. And we found a 170, 2 or 3 170 class bucks. And then a couple 150s, 160s, along with another giant up on the mountain that I think he was pushing too.
Oh.
But he was walking away in the headlights. So I'll never really know how big that deer was other than he was just monstrous. But Tracer stuck with archery and stuck with that tag. And mind you, the biggest buck he killed up until that point was a little forky. But he stuck with that tag of, I'm going to go Texas or bust. We had probably 3 or 4 150 class bucks within 50 yards. Nah, no, Texas. Or nah, I still want one of the big ones, And he ended up eating tag soup that year. It wasn't for lack of effort. It's just Texas wasn't presented. And that's something that, dude, I would have shot every one of those bucks with the bow that was within range. like my biggest buck with a bow was a basket frame 3-point, but it was an opportunity that it was right off the side of the road. It was legal. All I had to do was shoot it. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I mean like I said, that might not be where what I, eat, dream, breathe, live. I mean, I love it. I enjoy it. I do. But it's one of those things where like you need to find what it is that's truly important and prioritize that because I believe full-heartedly, super strong conviction that if you're putting the right things where they need to be, God could put a 200-inch buck in front of you. Because to God, what is another big buck? He created the universe. It's not like a big buck is not a big deal for him, but he knows it means the world to us. And I'm not saying that if you go and do all the right things that you're just going to get what you want. That's
I don't
not what
know.
it
You
is
look
at
at
all.
Caden's old bishop in Delta. That guy did it right.
But I mean, that's just one of the things. And I know there's a lot of, religious gander that we could go on, because it's God's timing and God's will and not ours. But there's so many times where maybe we think that, God's will is just us going out and preaching the gospel to everyone that we see and, dedicating our life to be pretty much a nun, but that's not what God wants for us. His commandment from the beginning was to all of his creations was to multiply and replenish and find joy in the measure of your creation, you know? And being created in the image of God, we have so much more ability to feel that joy. And God is not, my God is not a God that will take away my joy, you know, because I think hunting, it is a joyful thing. I look back on some of the memories I have, the few that I have that I still remember, a lot of them, they are hunting. They're out with my family, with my extended family and friends, hunting, shed hunting. And I know for a fact that that's part of what God wants me to do. If that's what's going to make me happy is being with my family, doing things like that. That's something he wants from us. But a lot of times we, on a more spiritual level, I know we've been talking about like more theory levels of, if we just want to fix our mindset, we have to do this, that, and the other. But it's also a big spiritual thing. If we start doing the little things right, making more time for what really matters, you know, God really does multiply our time and our efforts and anything that we do. And like I know that's true, and a lot of people think that, religion isn't fun. Like, oh, Christians, they just take the fun out of everything. But, to me, if I if I have a God that loves me, that's willing to bless me with opportunities, if I just do like little things right, that's joy. That's not just happiness. That's real joy. And that's kind of what we're chasing. But it does kind of go back to that. We have to start doing those little things right, fixing that mindset so that we can push through because God, He'll take us to our limits. And sometimes our limits that God takes us to are the limits that we need the mentality of, I need to push past my limit. Because, you know, anyone who's ever coached anybody in anything, you can see people's limit, and a lot of times it's a lot farther than they think
Well, like Cade's
it is.
story, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was just that challenge of try this and see what happens, and you'll be surprised at what you can do.
Mm-hmm. And that's the limit, and once we reach that limit, that's that's when it grows exponentially. And you start learning that too, and you start learning that, if I push that limit, someone's going to be there to catch me. We really aren't alone. Even in our darkest moments, moments where it feels the hardest to just wake up and make a good breakfast so I have energy to get going, you know, instead of just plopping a Pop Tart in the microwave and heading out, like there's all those little things, they really do add up. And I don't know, my mind's kind of been a lot on that recently, as it appears your guys' minds have as well from our conversation. But
Well, great minds think alike.
Yeah. Or inspiration comes in
or
mysterious ways.
or
Well,
one
this
of
is
those.
one that the start of, like I said, it's been more recent for me because I'm getting a grasp on the reality of hunting in the Western United States right now. Of our unit taking every year, we can hunt it every year to now it's every couple of years. And the reality of the opportunities aren't going to get better, guys. So if we want to hunt more and we want to continue our life, we're going to have to make the sacrifices and make the kind of lock down and do what we need to do. Whether it's switching up units and going and killing a 160 class buck up in the high country with your muzzle loader. Or, there's just little things that we can do to make it so that we are that successful. But one thing I kind of want to leave on is just being a good husband and father, especially with you, Tracer, going into this journey. This all ties together with you cannot be relaxed on being a husband and a father. And again, that's some things that some days I am just done. I come home, I am done. But then I look at my wife. I look at my little girl. I'm like, I am so blessed to be able to have a family, to be able to have this smiling little girl that's just running around happy as can be. Or when she's not that happy, I'm so blessed that she is healthy. And that's just something that I think about all the time, is that's not a place I can slack. And if I do, that's going to bite me in more ways than one. And there's times that I've slacked a lot. And like I said, I mean, vacation time. This next year, I'm going to focus more on doing more with my family. Whether it is scouting trips. I mean, this last year we did do a cool scouting trip that we went and we ended up picking a bunch of huckleberries, caught a lot of fish. It was amazing, really fun. And I want to do more like that. I want to share my love and passion of the outdoors with my kids, with my wife. But I've also got to realize that my priorities are not her priorities. She could care less about hunting. She does it because of me. She's gone out because of me. She's had opportunities at she's had opportunities that not very many people have had. We've gotten in the middle of an elk fest of just elk everywhere, coming from every I mean, one of those things that it takes years before you are able to get into a situation like that. But my main point is my best advice, and this again, I need to take it more. And when I relook at myself and I relook at my priorities, I need that needs to be part of I'm pulling from hunting to put into this. And that is my family. It needs to be more of a priority. It needs to be more of, you know what? I don't need to go hunting as much. I don't need to go kill these ducks tonight. I don't need to do this. I need to, there's a lot of different podcasts that I listen to that it all points back to family. And if things aren't tied up at home, if you leave a house and it's a mess and wife was mad at you because you had to leave, or just all sorts of different things, if you leave it disgruntled, there is no way you're going to be able to push past your limits. You need to have everything right at home in order to push past your limits out there. And so that's again one of my goals. It's almost New Year. We'll do a New Year's one, I'm sure. But that's one of my goals, is I'm going to prioritize this more. When I think about hunting more, I'm going to be, okay, I love this. Why do I love this? Because, again, going back to that, when I was 5 years old or however I was, and I went out with my uncle and my dad and my cousin, and we went out turkey hunting, and we probably didn't see squat. We probably didn't even know there probably wasn't even a turkey within 5 miles of us, because none of our dads knew what they were doing. We were 5 years old, or 5, 7, however old we were. But those are the memories I have of, and that's why I love it so much. Fly fishing. I love fly fishing because that's how I grew up. I grew up fly fishing. That was the haul side of me. It's proud to be a haul moment, you know. And so these are things I want to pass on and I want to realize. And if I'm going to do that, I need to take a step back and say, okay, I cannot force this. I cannot force wrestling. I cannot force hunting onto my girl. But if I make it fun, maybe they'll find their passion in it, and maybe they'll get the joy that I get out of it. But,
No, dude, I love that. I think we need to end on that.
Yeah.
I have nothing I could add to that to make it better.
yeah, maybe we'll hop on, do a quick update or something at the wedding, but odds are we're all going to be too busy catching up, and that's just fine. But
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what it brings.
exactly.
See if you and me can do something.
Yeah. Yeah, that dog's going to be.
His time picking up, but
Yeah,
at the very, we'll just have a good time.
exactly. Yeah. And that's again, we love doing this kind of stuff, guys. We love doing podcasts. It's something that brings us together, brings our brotherhood together, brings relationships that never would have happened together. I mean, the relationships that I've built with you two, and especially some of our guests like Bradley and some other people that we've never had a business talking, not business, I should say, but it's just there's never been a reason until now where, okay, now we have a platform that we can share a like-mindedness with people and grow and help each other. And to me, this has been a big growth step for me of when Caden came to me and said, you know what, dude, I think we should start up and I think we should push this stuff. And yeah, we should do a podcast. Let's just commit to this. Guys, that was what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, next month is our first
2 years ago. And we are episode 39 right now of aired podcasts.
aired podcast. Unaired, we're at episode like 390.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But of aired podcasts, we're on episode 40 or almost 40. So that's like 20, that's over or just under 2 a month, guys. And the growth and the push and the accountability I've had from doing this. Yeah, I need it. My responsibility, make sure these dang podcasts get posted. That's my responsibility. That's all I got to do is make sure these get posted. Caden's been knocking them out of park with the videos lately. And I'm like, I have footage. Why am I not pushing through and doing this? And I finally did. I finally just pushed through, and it was probably one of my worst films yet, but it's a film nonetheless. And it's still hilarious. And it's still got Tracer starring in it. So you got to go watch it if you haven't already.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this platform has really pushed me to become a better man, and I'm really grateful for you guys for helping me do that.
No,
But,
you guys are freaking awesome. I'm so glad we were able to make this happen tonight.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's always one of those things of 8 o'clock, guys, that's late. But it's 9:30 now. It's probably 9:30. Holy crap! It's almost 10. But what? So what?
That's my fault.
No, you're good, man. I wouldn't. Yeah, you needed to be there. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, that was. I know we want to end on that note, so maybe I'll talk to you guys afterwards about that.
Talk about a person overcoming some hardships. That's just a great way to end it. Of not everybody might be in your corner. Some of your friends may not be in your corner. But the fact that you pushed through and did that is such a mental battle that's so hard to overcome. But once you get over that hump, it's such an amazing feeling. But as always, guys, hats. There may be some more works or more hats in the works. More patches, guys. So
Boom!
I may or may not have gotten my wife I don't know if she can hear me, but I may have got my wife a pretty cool present that might help us out with that. So we'll see. But I did get it for her. She's going to use it for her business.
Oh yeah.
But
Do it on the side.
I mean, It's already here. Might as well use it.
I mean, well, just saying.
Yeah, exactly. But so hit us up if you want any apparel, guys. If you are interested in shirts, let us know. They're an expense, and we're not bringing in money, guys. So we need to have a certain amount of people want to commit on those. Hats aren't as big of an expense, but they're pretty big still. But they have been doing decent. So when I get, like I said, I may have some opportunity to do a little bit more with that here in the near future. But hit us up if you want more H&H apparel, guys. It's fun. It's still one sweet design. Hunter did a great job designing it, but that and Slayer and Habit and QU and whatever else we want to throw out there.
Yeah.
We're not endorsed by QU, guys, but we have decided that that's one of our favorites. But anyway.
Yeah. No, go check them all out. It's probably too late to get it for Christmas, but
yeah, especially by the time this comes out.
No. There's a good chance you guys won't hear from us till the new year.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, gals, enjoy Christmas. Enjoy the new year. Hope you guys enjoy the time with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And
remember the real reason, guys.
yeah.
Take a step back and remember the real reason for Christmas. It's not the hustle and bustle. It's not the stressing out to make sure everybody gets gifts and everybody gets cookies and everybody gets this. It's about the season and being grateful. And, well, the man, the myth, the legend, JC himself. Jesus. So.
Yeah. And we thank you guys for hanging with us for the last 2 years and many more years to come.
Mm-hmm. We're not stopping anytime soon, guys.
No.
So even if you don't listen to us, we'll keep going.
We're here whether you like it or not. So
mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
With that, I'll see you guys in a while.
See you in a while.
See you guys in a week.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
End our